Hello. So recently I've read a book named The Midnight Library, which is written by Matt Haig. The story revolves around Nora Sid, who was quite depressed with her life because, according to her, nothing was going right in her life. Eventually, we see that her pet Voltaire also dies, and it leaves Nola totally shattered, and there was no one, according to her, who needs her. So she was so depressed, and finally she decides that she'll take her life away. So eventually she commits suicide, and in the next plot, we can see that between the life and death, there was a library. So in that library, there were endless books, and each book contains a possibility of another life of Nora Sid. So in her base life, Nora worked in a shop from which she was fired. So she was not very good financially. Plus she used to teach a kid guitar, and eventually the kid also like he discontinued the classes, and she had bitter relations with her brother, and her both parents died, so she was an orphan, and she has left her fiance Dan at an altar, so she was quite lonely as well. Overall, she was a bit of loner, and according to her, she has no one who needs her. So that was also the reason for the suicide. So, in the Midnight Library, while Nora was jiggling between life and death, she went through a book of regrets, the regrets which Nora Seed had. So, it includes like quitting swimming, like she could have been Olympic level swimmer, and she like regrets quitting the band which her brother had, like Labyrinths, and she had a lot of different regrets. So she decides that she'll open those books and she'll live the life like that she regretted. She'll pursue her swimming career, she'll pursue with the band, she'll do this, she'll do that. So those books show her how the reality would be if she would have pursued those things which she have left. The first story was about what if she had married Dan. So in that she was living that life. She was quite confused also, but eventually she gets to know that in that life Dan cheats on her. So that was that there was no point in regretting the decision of leaving Dan at the altar. So eventually she goes through each life. Like in one life she was Olympic level swimmer, and she had regrets there too. In one life she was a rock star, and in one a scientist, in one a animal carer, and they were different lives with different scenarios. Nora had this one regret also, like she haven't went to Australia with her best friend. So in one life she was there in Australia, but she got to know that her friend has died there, and she had turned into totally a drug addict. So that's how it goes for her. She keeps on reading the books, like different regrets she have till now, and what would be the scenario if she would have lived them. So eventually it goes on like that only, and she have no she couldn't find a happy life for her. In like one or the other, she was depressed only, and there was no such good plot going on. So in the last life she have had, there was a guy named Ash in her base life who asked her out for a coffee, and she had said no. So in that life, what if she would have said yes to him? So that life, according to her, was perfect. Like she have married Ash, and she also have a daughter. They have a beautiful home, and they have a beautiful family. But Nora was very happy in that life, and she lived there for months. But again she realized that it's not her life, she haven't created this. But Nora loved that life, and she realized that this beautiful life she can also make in like from her base life also, and she decides that she wants to live and she don't want to die. So the ending is like at the end Nora decides that she'll live, and she wakes up in a hospital, and she found her brother there, and she decides that she'll live and she'll change her life, she'll change the perspective of her life towards her life. And that's how things go for her, and eventually the student which has left the classes also joins, and she decides to make the best of the life she had. This book got very emotional at certain times, which I can't explain in words, but it was very good to read them. And this book is quite emotional, and it leaves a very nice message at the end, that it's your life, and you're the creator, and like it's your choices that will make the future. So make your choices wisely. And it's very okay to feel bad about certain decisions, but you can't keep on regretting them throughout the life, because your life is beautiful and you should work on it.